Hello everyone, it's me, Jessica Dunn, and I'm here to talk about something rather serious. Because I haven't done a serious video for a while, I decided to go on Tumblr, and that was a bad idea, because like every other time I go on Tumblr, I seem to find things that disappoint me in humanity. It makes me disappointed in humanity. It makes me very mad about the world in which we live in, folks. There was a post on my Tumblr. It happened to be on my Tumblr. I'm going to hand it out to Upod. So, you know, I'm also going to be linking in the description to all the images and the crap that, up until this point has been said on this photo, because, I'll just explain. There was a post on Tumblr that said, and I quote, "White people," by the way, this is all in caps, "White people who defend reverse racism make me laugh. Like, ooh, someone called you a cracker. Are you getting flashbacks of owning land and people?" I said, no. I'm getting flashbacks of my family being poor and enslaved. Newsflash, Dorothy. We were in Oz, having fun playing the entitled victim role. Families and people of all races who weren't rich were slaves, if you didn't fucking know. Take that in for a second. I will link in the description to this image, by the way. So you will get all you need to know, and you'll be able to read along with it, if you choose to. And I took a screen capture of this image, and I took it upon myself to post it on Facebook with the title entitled Victim, the entitled victim. I like to call this the entitled victim. And my friends said, I'm not going to mention any names because they know who they are if they happen to see this video, and I'm not trying to make them out to be a bad person. Their opinion differs from mine, and I'm just trying to get your thoughts and see which opinion is the majority and which opinion is the lesser known one. He just simply commented, except reverse racism isn't a thing. And I said, I think it is. Meaning, I think it is. Holding me accountable for something someone else did simply because of my skin color is racist. After all, when I see someone of darker complexion, I don't see a slave, and I don't associate them with any bad thing someone with their complexion has ever done. That is because I am not racist. Because to me, racism is casting a negative shadow over somebody because of something that someone of similar race or background has done. I don't do that to people, and I don't expect it to be done to me. I've had it done to me on Tumblr. And as I've said, I've barely been on Tumblr lately, so when the first thing I happen to see is this on my newsfeed when I'm barely scrolling, it lets you know what kind of shit is still on the fucking site. After I posted that comment, he went on to post more comments in response to me. And, this is taking ages to load. Okay, there it is. He says, just because you don't view POCs, or people of color, as such, doesn't mean that others don't. White people have more chances in life because of our skin color. We haven't had a history of repression or negative biases, or viewpoints in politics or media. Just because your family didn't own slaves doesn't mean an ancestor wasn't racist as shit. There's no racism against white people. There isn't racism against white people. To anyone who feels this way, tell me you would be perfectly okay walking through a predominantly non-white neighborhood at night, listening to country music, walking. And I'm not being racist by saying that. I'm not saying that anyone would come out and attack you or say anything to you. I'm saying that if they did, what would it be? If the only reason that they had to do anything like that to you was because you were white and considered, therefore, unwelcome in that part of town or that, sect of the area, then what would be the reason of them doing that? Wouldn't it be racism? I'm not saying that they would do anything. I'm not saying that anyone would come out of their house or wherever they were and assault you or insult you. But if they did, think about what the cause would be. For anyone who is, not following my point. Like I said, there will be links in the description of every image that I'm saying, that I am, talking about. To which I responded. This was my response to his comment about there being no reverse racism or no racism against white people. I said, me sitting and saying, oh, I'm sorry, forgive us, is not going to do anything. Them saying it happened over and over isn't either. I am not saying it doesn't or didn't happen, so why should they be allowed to say reverse racism doesn't happen? So it's considered bad in an envelope statement or umbrella statement and a bad thing if I say what I say. If I say that, which that's not what I was saying. I wasn't saying that it doesn't happen or that it didn't happen or that there wasn't somebody a long time ago that may have been related to me that was like that. But I didn't do those things. I didn't say those things. I personally had no connection to that person. I probably never met them. It was somebody a long time ago. There's a good chance I never met them. So how can I properly say or make amends about it anyway? And then I also went on to say, I also realized by using they and them, it could be offensive. And what I mean by those terms is those people of color who choose to participate in reverse racism and the denial of it. Just as you could say they and them referring to people that are white, that choose to play the victim when using reverse racism. I'm not saying that every time that someone says, something, I'm not saying that I'm not meaning to play the victim by it. I don't bring it up all the time. I don't play this for me, I'm white, feel bad for me because blah blah blah. I'm not doing that. I'm not playing the victim. I'm not denying that it doesn't happen as often as racism. I'm not as what's normally considered racism. I'm not saying that normal racism doesn't happen by acknowledging that reverse racism does happen. Which reverse racism, if you're being racist against somebody of a different color than you because of the color of their skin being different than yours, it's racism. Whether you're black and they're white, or they're white and you're black. It's still wrong, it's still racism, and people need to shut up and stop calling it reverse racism. If you're going to say racism against white people, say racism against white people. Because reverse racism is not really a thing, because reverse racism would be anti-racism, wouldn't it? So shut up. I also said, I hate that so many people will see this photo, say that I'm being racist when I'm not, and get pissy. Go right ahead if you want to. It's not for me to say what you should feel about this. I will just stick to my opinion because I know that kind of shit I've seen on Tumblr. If it wasn't reverse racism, which I put in quotation marks because I don't think it's the accurate term, or the entitled victim role, also in quotation marks, I don't know what it was, or what was. I feel like, and he may have commented on this again, by the way. If he did, I'll just add that to the post. He did comment on it. Okay. His comment response to me is, if white people aren't constantly made aware of what happens to groups of minorities, we'll never be aware of it. Sad to say, but we white people tend to stay very oblivious of what happens to people of color because we never lived their experiences. We've never known of the fear of being assaulted by police for just walking down the street trying to make a living. First of all, I'm going to correct you on that, sir. I'm not going to say his name, but if you happen to see this, I'm going to correct him, or anyone that feels this way. I'm in the middle of his comment. I'm in the middle of reading it. Stop right there, where he says about we don't know their experiences and don't know the fear of being assaulted by police just by walking down the street trying to make a living. What do you define as making a living? What do you define as being assaulted by a police officer? If a person is selling drugs and a police officer sees them sell drugs, that, if they get arrested for that, not assaulted, but arrested, normally arrested, that's not racism. That's just being arrested for being involved in a crime, which they would be. Now, if you're going to throw out that white people have never been attacked by police, brutalized by police for just doing something innocent while walking down the street, that's a load of shit. There are white people who have had that happen, who know that feeling. It's nothing to do with racism. That's because cops abuse their power. You're bringing a whole other fucking thing into it, but and yes, I said white people and black people have experienced that. He goes on to say, if a white person wears certain clothing or have tattoos, yeah, we'll get a nasty look or two. But those are cosmetic choices, whereas a person of color who gets the same looks can never change their skin. Even if a person of color changes their behavior to act white, then the people of color will still be judged and get the same looks. To claim that people of color are in denial about reverse racism is to claim that white people understand the same prejudices and hardships that people of color have. Oh my goodness. Have we not already been over the fact that people of all colors have been enslaved, have been abused, have been, impoverished because they grew up at their, evolution as they weren't rich, so they have been through the same shit? There are white people who have gone from being slaves, they were white people, so, maybe they went about it differently, but they went from being slaves to not being slaves, but not making much and being just as poor as a free black person, to living in the projects and still doing so. And believe it or not, there are white people who, depending on their last name, are treated differently, are treated badly, are treated like shit if they go to the wrong place in town. And that's the same thing. That's racism. That's prejudice. That's the same thing. That's the same experience. And you're denying that that fucking happens. Anyone who is on board with this opinion. I'm not saying that every single white person has gone through that. But also, not every single black person has gone through it either. Because there are black people who never came to America as a slave. They never came here and were a slave. They were in Africa. Their family, eventually just navigated here after all that was done. Those people who are claiming the hardships that other black people face, who are actually well off, because if you can afford a plane ticket to come here from Africa, you're fucking well off. I'm sorry. But you are. I couldn't afford a plane ticket from here to somewhere else, even if it was like Canada, or the next door state from me. And as far as I know, no one in my family could either, so, you're well off. And basically what I'm trying to say is the whole reverse racism, or racism against white people, does exist. It might not exist in your mind, and you might not acknowledge it, because it's never happened to you personally. And I'm not sitting here playing the victim either. I'm going by what I've experienced. I'm going by the fact that I've had people of color give me attitude. I didn't say anything to them. They've given me attitude. I wasn't being racist. I said hi. The person gave me fucking attitude. Because I was white. That's the only reason they had to give me attitude. Because that's the only thing different about me and them in this situation. We lived in the same area of town. We went to the same school. We literally had the same lunch in the cafeteria that day. I said hi to them, or something, normal to them. Not offensive, not racist to them, but they got an attitude with me, and got racist with me, because I was white. Now tell me it doesn't happen. And that's actually when I was a kid, I'm not going to bring up the whole experience, because the whole experience, it's not really relevant at this moment. Other than I've experienced that. And I've considered people equal my entire life. And I've had people deny that I wasn't equal to them my entire life. And I'm tired of people saying that my opinions are stupid also. And not thinking about what I'm saying. Just putting out what they think. Listen to what I say, absorb it, think about it a little bit, and see if you still believe what you believe. I'm not trying to change anyone's mind, I'm not trying to make anyone feel differently, because I could be wrong and you could be right. But if it makes sense to me, I'm not very likely going to think it's wrong. I'm stubborn as shit. But I'm not racist. and I'm just a person. But I'm gonna put a link in the description to the actual, like, pictures of the post that I have. I'm gonna put a link in the description to the, maybe the actual post. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that or not, but I will try, because I'm not going to comment any further on it, just so you guys can see it and make your own opinions known about it. I feel like it's something where everyone experiences a different thing about, racism or reverse racism. Whatever you think might work for you, but what I think works for me too. And I'm not trying to get in a fight with anybody. I just honestly don't understand how people can be so stupid sometimes. There are things that I literally see on a daily basis on the internet, and it just makes me think people are honestly stupid, evolving backwards in their brain. But that has nothing to do with the topic that I made this video about, which is racism, reverse racism, and the entitled victim role. I am going to title this video the entitled victim role, because I don't know what else to title it, honestly. And I got a little off track, and this video is going on 17 minutes, and I have another video to upload that is cute and friendly. It's about my animals, it's about my dog and my 2 cats, and hopefully if you watch this, you watch it before that video, so that you can be undepressed by, after watching this, you'll be pretty depressed at the state of society. I'm not saying that I'm saying anything new also, before people go, well, there's other people that have made these claims, there's other people that have said this and said that. On both sides, I'm like, I know. I'm not saying that everything that this person who is a friend of mine, I consider him a friend, and I still do. I'm not saying that anything he said was necessarily wrong. I'm an imperfect person, and I could be wrong. I could be proven wrong later on. But for now, these are my opinions at the current point in time. And those are his opinions at the current point in time. I'm just saying, what do you think? Do you think that reverse racism or racism against white people exists? Do you think it doesn't? Do you think I'm wrong? Leave a comment telling me, send me a message in my Facebook, do whatever you want to do. I'm not trying to offend anyone or piss anybody off. I'm just putting my opinions out there. And you should be allowed to put your opinions out there, wear whatever you want, say whatever you want, and do whatever you want, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, no matter what your race is, no matter what your heritage is, no matter what. Because your heritage, part of it is who you are, but you shouldn't have to carry around baggage from what generations before you fucking did. And I refuse to be labeled a racist just because someone else was, who happened to have the same skin color as me. I also refuse to believe that someone is a thief or something negative because of their skin color, and someone who has the same skin color committing that felony or that crime or that, bad act. I don't understand racism. It's never worked in my mind, and I don't think that it's right no matter who it's being done to. I'm not playing a victim, I'm just saying I don't think it's right no matter what. Calling a white person a cracker or a honky or, any of these terms that, let's face it, are meant to be degrading. If you're a person of color and you call someone a honky or a cracker, you're trying to degrade them. You're trying to make them feel bad. I'm not saying that if a white person calls you the N-word, that they're not trying to degrade you or make you feel less of a human being, but 2 wrongs do not make a right. It just doesn't work that way. Life does not work. Nothing in life works that way. So, I'm just done. I'm done talking about this. I will post links to the pictures, and if I find a way, a link to the actual post, so that you can see it on my... Actually, if you go to my Facebook, you'll probably actually see it on my wall. But I also I don't know, it is 5/24/2014. That's for people who watch this at a later date and want to look up the actual post on my wall on Facebook. But, enjoy your day, or night, or whatever time it is where you are. I'm not trying to start a fight, just comment telling me what you think. Send me a message to Facebook. Go on my Tumblr and send me something if you want, because you're an awesome human being for watching this and wasting 20 minutes of your life. Have a great night. See you later. Check the description for links. Comment, like, subscribe, share. Adios.